Pano X or Panox or a camera company that make 360-degree 8K streaming cameras, and these are really expensive, but recently they've made a pocket version of a vlogging slash streaming 360 camera, and that's what we'll be talking about today. Let's go. Everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Miro and today we'll be talking about the Pano X V2. This is a 5.7K 30 frames per second 360-degree video streaming and vlogging camera. Now it's very similar to, let's say, the Insta360 X3, but it does have a much better display. I mean, the display here and the build quality is phenomenal. So today I will be comparing this to the X3. I have some old footage of the X3, and for those of you who follow me on the channel know that I wasn't really happy with the video quality coming from that camera, and I actually sold it. So when Pano X reached out to me and said, you want to try ours? I said, okay. And technically this is a sponsored video, but they do not get to see it before you guys, and if the camera sucks, I'm sending it back. But I'm making a video, so it's not sucking. Now the camera has two half-inch sensors. It shoots 5.7K video, it shoots 72 megapixel 360 photos, 5.7K 360 time lapses. It has active tracking with AI, so you can have like a single lens mode, which actually is a 360 mode, but it tracks you, which is something that is like mind-blowing. And this now is the active tracking feature. The camera shoots at 1080p at 30 frames per second, and it shoots either with a 16:9 or a 9:16 aspect ratio. But the cool thing is that I can actually walk around the camera and it's automatically tracking me. So wherever I go, the camera is always pointed at me, and it's doing this internally, which is actually a really unique feature. Today I went into a more woodland, high contrast scene area, and I've taken this camera with me to capture some behind the scenes shots. And from looking at this very high quality display, I think it does a very HDR image like default. So it's going to be high dynamic range, and I don't think a contrasty scenario like this is going to be a problem. So this is a streaming and vlogging camera, but it's not an action camera, which means that you cannot go underwater with this because you have openings on the side and you have a built-in fan, which means that this camera has active cooling. In other words, it will not overheat. If you power it through this USB-C to an external power source, well, you can live stream or record a video, well, forever, because it's not going to overheat. And that is a big difference. The battery is also internal and it lasts about the same as the X3. It's not a very long-lasting battery, but it is a fast charge battery, which means that it charges. I think it takes less than an hour to charge it full, and I think it goes like to 80% in 10 minutes, something in that department. So technically you can charge it with a power bank and don't need an extra battery, but it depends on how you like to use your camera. On the bottom you have that 3/8 of an inch screw for mounting the selfie stick or a tripod. As I mentioned, it does have that disappearing selfie stick feature as well. It has two microphones, one in the front, one in the back, and they are, well, they're just as good as the Insta360 X3 with its 4 microphones. If it gets windy, you will hear the wind, and honestly, if you're using like an external recorder like I'm using here, yeah, I mean, I don't really need it, but if it's not a windy situation, it does capture the audio relatively good, like in this example. And this now is a 5.7K video. Let's see how this looks in the dark. Now, as you can probably tell, I don't have a selfie stick, so I'm literally holding the camera in my hand, which makes it look really weird. But this now is a fairly dark area, and if I can go into an even darker area, you will see, you know, the grain and the noise, and it's problematic to a way. So this is an outside camera, which means that it's meant to be used outside. It's not for indoor use. Well, at least not in a low light scenario. So if you have any sort of studio lights, that's going to help a lot. But yeah, you know, hey Alex, what you think? Oh, I don't have to turn the camera around. I can just, you know, hello.
Hello.
Hello, are you okay?
Yeah.
What's with all the toys, man?
Lego.
Lego. Okay, you know, that's it. So indoor, low light, better stand against the window. Yeah. Now this runs on Android 10 operating system, and the menus are very easy to use, very similar to other action cameras, but there is one kind of big difference. It does not have any picture profiles, which means that it only shoots a high dynamic range, very natural looking video. So there's no log, there's no vivid, there's no standard, and honestly you don't really need it, because the video coming from this genuinely looks better than what I got with my X3, which is kind of the main reason why I'm going to keep this camera as my kind of behind the scenes 360 vlogging camera. The touchscreen is very responsive, it's a 3-inch and it's very high res, so I think the best touchscreen on any camera that I've seen so far. I think it's even better than my Sony a7 IV. Well, you know, that's not very hard to beat. And the sensors, as I mentioned, are 1/2-inch CMOS Sony sensors. I think they're backside illuminated, and I think I read somewhere that they're stack sensors, which means that there's like no rolling shutter. Now again, I think the Insta360 X3 uses exactly the same sensors, and the lenses are a bit smaller, they're fixed, you know, built into the body, so you cannot replace them. You can maybe put on some lens guards, but just like with the X3, if you break them, you have to send the camera back. So this is why now the action camera, now the action word in the action camera for the X3 was always a bit tricky, because, you know, I mean, if you wave this around, you will bump the lenses sooner or later. So technically, I mean, I don't feel comfortable using this as an action camera, but it's a use case. I mean, it's like my personal. Now there is a smartphone app that comes with this device, where you can reframe your shots, export them, post them on social media, use them on your computer, and it's a very easy app to use, very similar to the Insta app. But there is no software for your PC, which isn't actually a bad thing. Let me explain. So one thing that I liked with the Insta X3 was the software where you can stitch the videos together, reframe it, and then export it to then be used in another editor to edit into a final YouTube video or any other video. And as seamless and smooth and nice as that sounds, it's actually double the work. And the more I use that camera, the more that extra work I had to do in the Insta software kind of didn't make any sense anymore, because I was genuinely not happy with the video results that I got from the camera. Again, this is my personal use case. You guys probably have better experience with that. But that extra step that you have to do, though, stitching, reframing, exporting, importing, maybe not happy, going back, reframing, exporting, you know, it's just like back and forth. Yeah, not really a smooth workflow. Now this camera offers stitching internally, so you can choose the file that you've recorded, stitch it, and then export a stitched 360-degree video. Now if you use a media player that shows 360 degrees video, personally, I use the pot player because it also shows 10-bit videos. But if I open the file that was stitched on the camera on my computer, well, I get a 360-degree video right there. And I can use that in, let's say, Davinci Resolve, my final editing software, and I can reframe there. Now, for Davinci Resolve, you do need an extra step, an extra plugin for that to work. And if you guys are interested, I'll be making a video, a very short tutorial. I'll link it down below once it's ready, explaining how you install the plugin. It's very easy, just a few minutes. And then you can do all the reframing in Davinci Resolve, which is a really big, like a massive time saver compared to the Insta workflow where you worked in one software then went to the other one. So the lack of that reframing and stitching program on my computer on this camera is actually a benefit in my workflow. It speeds up the workflow a lot. So yeah, there you have it. If you guys have any comments or questions about this camera, leave that down below. Also use the link that will take you straight to the website of Pano X. And starting with 24th of April 2024, there will be a 15% discount on an already less than $400 price. So might be worth to check it out. And I mean it seriously. This is a really good camera considering the price and considering the use case. So do check it out. Also, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Thank you, means a lot. I appreciate you because of that. And hit the like button for the algorithm. It also helps to promote the video and my channel, and I appreciate you even more. So that's it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.